Ben, Shakespeare's Hamlet, has given rise to many phrases still commonly used today. Here are some of them: to be or not to be. This is perhaps the most famous phrase from the play, often used to signify a profound existential dilemma or decision. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark used to suggest that something is not right or there's corruption afoot. There's method in my madness. This means that there is a purpose to what may seem like reckless or insane behavior. The lady doth protest too much, methinks, often used to suggest that someone is insisting too much on some point of view, leading one to suspect the opposite. To thine own self be true, advice to be yourself, or to act in accordance with one's own values and beliefs. Brevity is the soul of wit, a way of saying that being concise and to the point is a hallmark of intelligence or humor. Get thee to a nunnery? In Hamlet, it's a way of dismissing Ophelia, but the phrase has been used in various contexts, suggesting retreat or seclusion. Neither a borrower nor a lender be advice, a warning about the complications that can arise from financial dealings with friends or family. In my mind's eye, referring to one's imagination or memory. The play's the thing, referring to the central importance of a given event or scenario. Here's something that might surprise you. While we often quote to be or not to be as Shakespeare's most famous line, it's actually just one of over 1,000 phrases from Hamlet that we still use today, many of which most people don't even realize came from the play.
That's fascinating, Pappy. And you know what's really interesting about those phrases? Most people use them without realizing they're quoting Shakespeare. When someone says, there's method to my madness, they're not thinking about Danish princes and revenge plots.
Exactly, Ben. And what's really mind blowing is how these phrases capture such universal human experiences. Take something is rotten in the state of Denmark. It has become a perfect way to call out corruption or wrongdoing in any situation, from office politics to national scandals.
That makes me wonder, how did these particular phrases survive while others faded into obscurity? What made them stick in our collective consciousness?
I think it's because they tap into these really fundamental human experiences and emotions. Like the lady doth protest too much. We've all been in situations where someone's over denial makes us suspicious. Shakespeare just found this perfect way to capture that moment.
That's making me think about how some of these phrases have completely evolved from their original dark context. I mean, get thee to a nunnery was basically Hamlet telling Ophelia to go away forever, but now it's almost used playfully.
Oh, that's such a good point. And speaking of context, let's talk about neither a borrower nor a lender be. It's this piece of financial wisdom that comes from Polonius, who's actually kind of a foolish character in the play. Yet somehow this advice has outlived its questionable source.
Hmm. It's almost as if these phrases have taken on a life of their own, completely separate from the tragic story they originated from.
And what's really interesting is how many of them come from this play, which is essentially about murder, revenge, and political intrigue. I mean, Hamlet stages this whole play within a play to catch his uncle's conscience, which gives us the play's the thing, but it's part of this elaborate revenge plot.
That's a crucial point about the darker origins. Even brevity is the soul of wit comes from Polonius, who ends up getting stabbed through a curtain.
Right. And you know what's fascinating? the way these phrases work on multiple levels. Like in my mind's eye, in the play, Hamlet often talks about seeing his father's ghost, but we use it for any visualization or memory. It's as if these phrases possess incredible flexibility.
That's really what makes them so powerful. They can adapt to new contexts while keeping their essential truth.
Exactly. And look at to thine own self be true. In the play, it's part of a longer speech that's actually pompous, but it has become a powerful statement about personal authenticity. It's as if these phrases have been distilled down to their most fundamental elements.
Well, that brings up something interesting. How do you think Shakespeare would feel about the way we use these phrases today?
I think he'd probably be delighted. Remember, Shakespeare was all about connecting with his audience. He wrote for both the groundlings and the nobility. The fact that we're still finding new ways to use his words would probably seem like the ultimate success to him.
That's such a good point about his original intent. These phrases weren't meant to be museum pieces, they were living language.
And they're still living languages today. Think about how method to my madness has become this perfect way to explain any seemingly chaotic process that actually has purpose behind it. It's far removed from its original context in Hamlet's feigned insanity, but it works perfectly in modern situations.
So, what you're saying is that these phrases have become like linguistic tools that help us express complex ideas more efficiently?
Exactly. And maybe that's Shakespeare's most significant legacy, not just the plays themselves, but this rich vocabulary for expressing human experience. He gave us these perfectly crafted phrases that help us make sense of our world, even when our challenges are very different from those faced by a medieval Danish prince.
That's really what makes these phrases so special, Pappy. They're both timeless and adaptable. They address timeless human concerns while seamlessly integrating into modern conversations.
And you know what, Ben? That ability to capture universal human experiences in just a few well chosen words, that's really the soul of wit. Though I suppose Shakespeare might argue with my brevity there,